By default, survival is not a peaceful existence.
Neither is life.
Welcome to the Vale, a rare bastion of civilization in a world recuperating after a terrible, centuries-long war. Though the battles ended 200 years ago, the land still recovers from this period of tumultuous strife and slavery. Join now the defenders of the Vale as they navigate a world riddled with opportunity and tragedy, all the while seeking glory, gold, and adventure.
All right, guys, we're here. It's 12 after. This might be a record start for us. But some stuff happened last time. Do you guys remember? In episode 97, Onyx had a chance to duel Slate for Dominion over down here. And it was a pretty rough battle, to be honest. Had a couple of roles gone a different way, Slate would have been the permanent king of down here, and Onyx would have been nothing but a memory as his corpse rotted in a field. Onyx was able to overcome due to some shenanigans and trickery and blatant cheating, the D&D system, and he hacked it and was able to win the fight. And then he found his mom, and he had a heart-to-heart with Slate. You come to find out Slate was being controlled by a couple of beholders. You know, who knows the exact amount? Some say 2, some say 5. I've heard
Beholders
30 tossed
married.
around. I've heard 30 beholders tossed around. We'll see. But there's a bunch of beholders, and they were controlling him and caused him to do a lot of horrible things. So Onyx, not just being the normal barbarian he's used to being, Onyx, the king, made a kingly decision to enact mercy. And Onyx, do you want to describe Slate's new position in your kingdom?
Yeah, so basically I had him start cleaning up, but then I go back down there. Hey, Slate, you can stop cleaning up now. I figured you could take my pop's old position, and you could be the protector of the royal house.
What, you mean like your dad used to do for my dad?
Yes.
So you're not going to make me clean forever? I get to, serve and fight with honor?
Yes.
I've got pretty strong fists, but I might need to go down and buy a weapon to do it.
No, that won't be necessary. For now, you can use my old halberd, but I'm having a halberd commissioned that's going to be used by the royal protector. And as long as you're royal protector, you'll be able to use it. But for now, here's Old Faithful.
He kind of gets as emotional as you imagine like a high school football quarterback type guy can get. He's trying to be promotional, and takes the halberd and he goes, "I'll slay any enemies of down here and protect your family and our kin with all of my life. And I'm very sorry for the stuff I did earlier. That was kind of my bad, bro."
Well, my mom said good things about you. So she never steered me wrong. So, I guess, I just thought of something. The royal protector, you know what the position's called?
Mm-mm.
Slate.
That's my name.
Yeah, and my pop's name.
Oh, and he was the last one. This is perfect. We should probably tell more people to name their kids Slate, so we always got like a backup.
Well, but they could still be the Slate, even though their name's not Slate. It just worked out well this time.
Oh, so I'm
last time.
I'm Slate the Slate.
Yep.
Yeah, he kind of does a move, like he tries to punch weirdly, like he's a kid, like he feels cool. I'm Slate the Slate. All right. Well, thank you so much. And he bows to you as they would a king.
If you're bowing, you're not protecting.
That's really good. All right, and he stands straight and he's looking for danger. All right, well, I'm gonna, thank you. And then he takes the weapon from you. And so Slate now is patrolling and kind of organizing the guard and taking on roles like that, making sure that everything's tip-top and safe. Because he figures if the whole town is safe, then that's a lot of safeness before they get to the king. So he's just trying to keep everything safe. So he's off and he does that duty. And for a while, everybody's pretty paranoid about him because he did some pretty jerky things. But with your confidence and your mom's confidence, who are two pretty popular people in your community, eventually people come to trust him. And I know we're talking a little bit in the future and we're not there yet, but it's pretty good move. pretty good move to turn a level 19 fighter into your bodyguard.
And also, with everybody getting down in the humble beginnings and everything, Onyx is going to go,
Hey guys, I have this belt that I'm not using. I wasn't sure if Basil or other people might want, because we were talking Roland might want, but I have a belt that makes you stronger.
Oh, I'm surprised you'd ever had use for a belt like that. I didn't think there was much stronger a person could get than you.
Not anymore.
I see.
you see a prettier, fancier belt around my waist.
Nice. Basil sort of looks at Roland and says, well, what do you think, Roland? Would you like a and sort of flex? Big strongman belt? Belt of strongman? Man belt? Strong? Good?
If no one else can use it, I could use it. I don't really have a use for it, which is why I would prefer if it went to someone who could use it.
Well, I suppose I could make some light use of it, but it's not something I would rely on.
Otherwise, unless that Sue fellow comes around again, he might be interested in something like that. Actually, Tolgar might be interested in something like that. We should see if Tolgar wants that belt, maybe.
It could be useful for the guild, yes.
Or we could ask one of the Finns and have them argue over it.
Oh, I think that belt would look absolutely dashing on Breck, though.
Awesome. And it's Telgar, you jerks.
Well, tell Gar we might have a belt for him.
Heyo.
Did you just make a pun out of my name?
I would never do that. I've never made a pun in my life.
I think you made a pun.
I thought it was punny.
See, that's how you make a pun.
That was very good. Telgar, man belt. Strong, good, yes. Belt.
Telgar furrows his brow and looks at Brack and goes, did your monk have a stroke?
No, Onyx has this extra belt that makes its wearer quite strong, and
Of Giant Street.
indeed. And neither Basil nor myself have much of a use for it. We thought maybe you could use it.
Well, correction, I would like to be strong, however, we are part of a guild, and I do think sharing is caring.
Why don't you go ahead and use it? I'm pretty damn strong.
I suppose that's fair enough. Roland, would you like to timeshare it?
Oh, I'm fine. I think it suits you better anyways, Basil.
I did need a belt anyway, because pants don't really fit.
That's the other reason.
Yeah,
Well,
Roland don't wear pants.
Oh no, he's got the Squidward tentacles look. Onyx, if it's quite alright with you, I'd quite like the belt. Wait, the belt of strength to wear, not anything else.
Everybody's into their own thing.
Okay, here
Well,
you
yeah,
go.
no. Thank you very much, Onyx. It's a treasured gift. Perhaps I could, in return, give you another tattoo. I don't really have many things to bargain with, I've realized.
A tattoo.
Yes, I was thinking perhaps, I don't know, something to denote your kingly status. On account of me just now learning that you are a king.
What, are you going to tattoo the name King on his ass?
No, unless that's what he would like.
It took me forever to realize I'm.
So
I'll
maybe,
still tell him I'm not.
well, maybe Mark, whenever you're confused or forget, you can look down at your hand and remember that you are the king of down here, down there.
Down here.
Yeah. Makes sense you put
Okay.
a tattoo on his ass. It says King since he's the king of down here. Alright, so Basil's getting the belt.
What kind of
What
belt
else is
is it?
going on?
Grok, does Metal Boy thing want a great sword?
Well, his name is Irony, and he comes with a sword. That's
Yeah.
pretty great.
Is it +3? Or is it really, really nice? Like, if you had to give it a number between 1 and other numbers, it was a 3?
If I had to lay out exact kind of specs on it, it has a pretty good reach to it, and it does like 3 times 10 damage,
Oh, that's a lot.
plus a little bit on top of that.
Okay, I guess I can give it to my kids to play with.
Alright, so that was horrible metagaming right there, but what are you guys doing now?
After everybody else starts talking, I'm going to sit down and start attuning to my new halberd.
Do you want me to describe what happens privately, Or do you care if people hear about this stuff?
I guess it's fine.
It's just going to be lore. That's all it is.
Yeah,
You guys don't know this happens, but here's what happens. Onyx, as you sit down and really start thinking hard and trying to bond with your Papsy's weapon, you start to see visions of a young Slate, not the younger Slate, but your dad Slate. You see him out on a mining expedition. You see him hitting on your mom before they're married. You see him fighting some goblins here and there, a couple Duergar, things like that. And at some point in time, you see him get separated, and he comes into an ancient temple down below in the Underdark. As he's going through, there's a lot of drawings on the temple, and you see it was a temple to some sort of dragon. And at the altar of the temple, there is a halberd slammed into like a pedestal. You see him, he's gotten a weapon, and you hear creatures coming. And he reaches up and grabs the halberd, yanks it out of the stone like a Genasi Arthur, or Genasi Arthur. And then he takes it and almost instantly flips it over, and you see him cleave two goblins right in half. You see him fighting some more different things. You see a lot of bodies getting piled up, and his body count really starts to go. Your dad was quite the warrior. And at one point in time, they're down below in the forges of near the forges of a Dwarven kingdom, and you see a giant fire elemental. And he takes the halberd, and the flash you get is him jumping off of the second story of something in a rage as he comes splicing down into that elemental. And as he pulls the halberd out of it, you see the flames envelope the halberd, and that's where it kind of gets its enchantment from. After that, you see him killing lots of different stopping invasions and going on war parties and escorting mining groups. And you recognize the former king and Slate the Kid. You see visions of him defending monsters as they attack the home that you guys live in. And your vision, you actually see a baby Onyx in a crib while your dad is slaughtering things trying to break through the stone door. And it's just, you realize that your dad was a pretty epic adventurer before he got taken down. And he might still be pretty strong. Because remember, the beholders might have your dad.
Yeah.
And you kind of get a flash of this other side of your dad. You've always known your dad was like a respected person and people gave him props. You never really got to see your dad do adventuring. So as you attune to what was his weapon and has now become a family heirloom, you're granted visions and you get to see kind of where the enchantments of this weapon came from. And you realize that the strength of this weapon is less enchanted by people, but more enchanted by deed. And your dad fought some pretty gnarly deeds to get there.
Awesome.
That's it. Your dad's cool. Was cool. Might be still cool. I don't know.
Well, if he's dead, he's really cool.
Oh!
Oh my gosh. You have disadvantage on your next whatever. It's family karma for bad jokes. But
Holy moly.
you guys, before this set off, you come back and the crystal ball is still on the table, and you still see visions of the keep that those people are from, except for you guys actually see something in those visions if you guys would like to check it out.
Yeah, Roland will check it out.
Wait, what? I got really confused then.
There's a crystal ball. Remember the one you saw where he put down what he did?
The ball?
The Gryball.
Okay.
So as you look into the Gryball, you see the encampment of cultists surrounded by undead and has been getting besieged, and it looks pretty dire. And what you see is you see the front gates of the cultist encampment open, and you see three individuals step out. As the human, who has a very eerily similar look to Basil, steps out, you see him take off in a blinding fit of speed, bouncing from undead to undead, using his fist, hands, elbows, and feet as some of the deadliest weapons you've ever seen. Basil, he reminds you a lot of the Great Sage and the way he moves and attacks. And he's flying through undead, just destroying them. Behind him, the woman sprouts wings and flies and occasionally shoots beams of light into both the not Mr. Mistopheles and to the guy who looks like or fights like the Great Sage. Looks like she's restoring power to them, and at times shooting lights of brilliant radiant energy towards the undeads as well. The one who you said looks like Mr. Mistopheles, who would be about a 6.5 foot tall tabaxi with dark fur, is casting bolts of dark eldritch energy at people. Is also dropping summons where he's summoning abyssal creatures and infernal creatures and dropping them off in the middle of the undead as well. After a good half hour, 45 minutes of this, the siege is broken as the undead starts to die out. At which point in time, more cultists start to run out, foot soldiers and stuff like that, and start to wipe out the remaining parts of the undead. Moments after that happens, Gravine enters into the inn again.
Does it get cold when he does?
A little.
When Gra came in, the air went out. Has he come
Mild.
alone?
No, obviously.
Okay.
Oh, great. He knows we're using it.
For the benefit of the podcast, let me quickly... The very brief description of the three characters we saw was a magic-looking, dark-furred cat man. As Ricky said, a gentleman that looked quite similar to Basil, and also sort of athletic build, and a somewhat, I would say, noble-looking, dark-skinned woman who was the one shooting bolts of light and nothing else.
Yeah. So Gravine and Rith come up and they go,
I think you guys should probably pick up the pace on heading over to the town. Because if I go over there the next time, I'm just going to finish everything.
That would make sense. There was just an emergency in Onyx's kingdom.
I'm aware.
Oh, all right then.
Onyx just doesn't like me down there, so I don't go down there that much.
Would you recommend setting out as soon as possible? Also, are you comfortable just walking into the humble beginnings like that? I would imagine you get quite a few looks.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's two different things. One, nobody's going to do anything about it. And two,
Excellent point.
I figure with time, maybe they'll, get to like me again.
You are, of course, welcome.
They didn't really like me before, but, maybe they won't not like me.
You're the same guy you've always been. I don't understand what the problem is.
I'm just scared now. It's like Halloween every day.
Which sounds totally awesome.
I suppose we should try and set off as soon as possible. Perhaps Onyx and I should finish attuning to these items first, and then we should go? Or, unless, I suppose Onyx might want to rest.
You guys can attune, and while you're attuning, I'll just make a portal, and you guys can go through my portal. Let me guys my spell slots. Do you want me to go? I'll just go take care of it if you want. I'll just go finish.
It's quite alright.
No, I mean, I can do it. You guys can hang out here, have a couple of martinis.
I sort of look over to Rabajan, and I say, I know this, Gravine.
Do you want me to come with? I can come with.
Your methods are very effective, but they do lack a certain sort of delicacy. Not like food.
I think he should come with us. I think that's a good idea.
I suppose I would not forbid you from joining us. You are... I mean, this is, I understand, very important to you as well.
I mean, I know it's your family. I tell you what, I'll come through the portal, I'll hang back, and if you guys need help or want help, just say the word, and I'll come in and help in whatever capacity.
Acceptable, yes. I'm always grateful for your backup, Gravine.
I would like to know what kind of time I do have. Do I have an hour, half an hour?
You got an hour.
Cool. I'd like to go to the smith and ask for the green dragon tooth I gave him. I wanted him to carve me some sort of dagger with magic property in it.
He's not done with it yet. All right. Anything else, guys? Maybe?
No.
Okay. Gravine.
Oh, wait.
No.
I'm going to go
portal.
I wanted to kiss Matilda goodbye.
Oh, yeah. We'll wait for that. No. You kiss Matilda goodbye? Everybody goes, oh.
Yeah.
It's canon.
All right. You guys are ready to step through the portal, right?
Yes.
So Ren breaks his 47-second long kiss with Matilda and joins you guys as you all shuffle through the portal.
I adjust my belt before going through.
They're such a cute couple. I should get them a room.
And they've got rooms everywhere. They are very welcoming.
I go grab my fortress, by the way.
So you grabbed your fortress previously because right now we're walking through a portal.
Sure thing.
Right. Gotta be better about this stuff, folks. I'm gonna start leaving you all behind because you're all too powerful. You go through the portal and you just see a small town centered with wooden, like a 16-foot tall wooden fence. It's like think of like an old like colonial town with like trees cut down and put into like just a wood fence that's twined together with ropes. In the center of this town is one bigger covered stone building, and then there's small huts all else around it. And all the way around the town, you see a mixture of cultists and undead bodies just stacked up. And as you step through the town, you see a light blue energy flow out from Rith, and you see a almost lime green, neon green energy flow out from Gravine, as the undead are starting to be called back into service again. And as the undead start to rise, they start to shuffle back towards the area where Gravine is standing and fall into ranks. The only problem is the cultists are now joining the ranks of the undead. So they could start to come back as zombies and skeletons and whatnot, depending on their condition. You notice a few ghouls rising up as well. And Gravine's like,
Look, I can do that now too.
You guys notice that the front door is relatively unguarded. You see a couple of cultists there who are in fear.
Basil will raise a hand and be like, "Hello, please stop being cultists. Thank you."
Rin look at Basil and be like, "You serious?"
I'm trying out a new peace angle. You know, bloodshed's gotten quite a lot.
The cultists look back and forth and they go, "We're
To meet you.
so hungry. Are you guys
Pleasure is. I'm sorry that a lot of you died.
All of us. My entire family was in this town.
Oh, were they all cultists?
It's just our way of life."
What?
Yeah, but
Well-
are you in a cult?
Well, you kind of deserved it.
Well, let's not jump to conclusions. And I just feel like I suppose there's no. I mean, I understand. You know, sometimes things can be difficult. Perhaps cultism, is that a word? Occultism, that's the word, is not always the correct path. I mean, the people in Centerville do pretty well, and they don't have to join a cult.
Wait, the people in Centerville are in the cult of Freya.
It's not
That's
a cult.
not a cult.
That's who?
Are you trying to justify their actions? I mean, come on, man.
No, I'm going to have a discussion.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem like it to me. Yeah, anyway.
I suppose I understand the basic idea that the line that might separate the followers of Freya and the followers of gestures vaguely to Cult Town. However, I think perhaps it has more to do with intent and opinion. It's not as though, I mean, you are a little bit selfish by nature.
Hey,
Not
that's
you,
true.
Rin.
But sorry, I felt like you were, you know.
I pat Rin on the head.
The cultist looks at you, hungry, weak, scared. Why are we selfish?
Perhaps you yourself are not selfish, but your actions are careless and callous and
Selfish.
cruel.
Yeah, I guess. Says the people who just came through a portal with the Lich that's been sieging our town, and that has helped watch my family and kids starve to death over the last couple of months. Or weeks.
Yeah, well, that wasn't my choice for the Lich. Just saying.
Oh yeah, no, I get it.
Where's
I
the
get it. You're morally
guys?
superior because it wasn't your choice that the guy you came with did stuff. Yeah, it makes sense.
If
Sounds
you're
like-
being cocky, I think it might end well for you, so please just stop being an ass.
No,
Rin.
yeah, I'm terrified of the little guy after watching my family die because I couldn't provide for them because your friend wouldn't let supplies in and out of our town where we were just existing.
Mm-hmm.
Rin, please don't threaten me.
But your argument makes it sound like we're the bad guys, so that's an invalid argument.
Yeah, I know it's inconvenient. He pulls out a paper. He goes, "You see this?" And when you look at it, it's just a picture. It looks like a kid drew a picture, and it's a stick figure and another stick figure and a couple little stick figures, and it says, "Come home soon, Dad." See this? Last thing I ever got for my kids. You know where my kids are? They're dead. One of them starved to death because it was an infant, because the mom and his two brothers were killed by undead. Yeah, I'm a cult.
Basil raises his hands, like palms outward, so that the guy can see he has no weapons. It's kind of not true because his hands are his weapons, but we're not going to go into that right now. He starts to approach the gentleman, and he says, "Might I take a closer look?"
You want to look at his picture?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. You and your guild can go ahead and take the last thing away from me. He gives it to you, throws his weapon down, and he starts to walk back into town.
Wait a moment.
Yeah, he doesn't wait.
I inspect the drawing.
How long were we in down here?
Couple days.
Is it as he said, just a drawing of a child drawing for
Yeah.
their father? Hmm.
Rin goes next to Basil and look at it.
He says he looks at it.
Oh yeah, I hold it down to Rin height so you can see.
Yeah, and Rin says something like, "This is pretty odd, even for a kid. I mean, look at the lines."
I know they were drawing Gry. Isn't that cool pictures of Gry?
What's important is what that gentleman said is true. Horrible things have happened to his family.
Yeah, what about the other families that they did horrible things to? when they were in the cult and they were trying to, kidnap people in Centerville and do bad deeds and this.
Very well said.
I
The
mean,
cycle of war is not a pretty thing, Rin. I see no need for us to be hostile. These people are almost defenseless in comparison. Perhaps not all
yeah,
of them.
so
but
I mean, I get why the kids would be innocent, but the adult, they choose that.
I'm not certain. I do agree with
Are you
you,
kidding
Rin.
me?
There is not really any excuse for committing atrocities. So then, why did we?
Why did we what?
Basil sort of looks around this town with all the ghoulies and the undead and all that.
After a few moments, the guy comes back with a bag on his shoulder, and he hands the other guard a bag, picks his weapon up, and they both start to just walk away into the sunset.
Come again?
They are leaving. They're walking not back into town, but out of town, off into the distance. They start heading away.
Huh.
Basil
What do
wants
you wanna
to
do
call
now?
after them and say, "Excuse me."
No, see ya. You guys won. Everyone's dead. Congratulations.
I just want to know where your leaders are.
I don't have leaders anymore. Goodbye. And we'll keep walking.
You want to let them go and regroup and rebuild the guild, I guess, Basil? That's what you want? You want to let them set them free and have a happy life and, shit like that?
I understand that those are dangerous people. Personally, I see
Yeah.
very little need for more violence unless they do something that requires quelling. I have very little interest in hunting down fleeing opponents, people that have decided to cut their losses. I'm not condoning what they've done, just like I'm not condoning what we've done.
Rin just quit the conversation and leave Basil how to talk to himself. He looks pretty pissed, and he will go. I had some guys posted down here. He will try to basically try to reach them stealthily. Or I don't know what's the word, but I don't want to get seen, and I want to make sure that one or a few of them disguise as cult members and follow the group to see what happens, and that they report if something weird happened.
So you want them to go follow the people who are abandoning the cult? Okay, they do.
Basil does not attempt to follow Rin. He just sort of lets himself trail off when Rin goes. Actually, he probably looks over to the rest of the party, Roland in particular, and says, "Roland, you're quite familiar with the nature of most creatures, I would imagine. Yes?"
Well, to put it so generally is kind of an understatement, but I mean, I guess all living things are similar in some way or another.
Is it not natural for a creature to do whatever it can to sustain its own life?
Why, yes, that is one of the fundamental features of survival.
By default, survival is not a peaceful existence.
Neither is life.
Quite the shame. Perhaps we should try and accelerate our journey here and solve this matter as soon as possible.
So you guys going in the town? Are you checking out the buildings? What are you doing?
Didn't we see on the Gry cam, did we see where they sort of, I suppose, retreated to after doing their part?
They went back in the main gate. So the gate that you're standing at now that was defended by those two guys, they went back in there. They came out of that gate and assaulted the undead, did their things, and they went back in.
So they must be somewhere within then.
You would have
Or presumably are somewhere within. We should try and find the leaders of this sect, the local fingers, as it were. Perhaps we can talk to them. As I recall, Gravine mentioned that we have some people to find.
So what are you doing?
Basil will start walking to the gate and try and open it, assuming it's closed.
No, it was wide open. It was wide open.
Abijah is gonna follow pretty immediately.
You guys are going in. Are you heading to the smaller buildings first? You're going to the main building? What's your plan?
I'm heading to the main building first.
I feel like,
I think...
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like the main building would probably be where all the big shots are. And that's kind of what Robbie John is mostly interested in.
Wonder why you're interested in that.
She was told to go there. Kind of.
Are you guys going to the main building?
I guess that makes the most sense, but I kind of think that Basil would sort of, he doesn't like sort of what's happened here, so I think he would want to head to the main building, but he would also be concerned with like helping people as he went.
Besides his emotions, what would he actually do, though? That's what I'm asking.
If Grok's going straight to the main building, then he would go straight there.
Is anybody not going to the main building?
Roland's just gonna follow Basil and Ravishan.
Okay.
So is Onyx.
All right, you guys start to head to the main building, and it looks desolate. This is the saddest town you guys have ever seen. You see puddles of like what look like necrotic energy in various places. You see arrows. You see dead bodies. There's no choices between adult or young. It's just this town was sieged and it got wrecked. The few survivors you can see are currently going through and picking supplies, and they're heading out in groups, almost like those two guards did. You don't see cultists as much as you see survivors. They were on the wrong side of war. You see partial families getting together in groups and heading out to make a new life for themselves elsewhere. As you kind of walk towards that main building, the doors to the main building are open. You see what used to be the big doors. A boulder had come in and hit those double doors. It had blasted them open. It looks like the doors were singed and the fire was put out. You guys come into this arena here, and as you come into the arena, you see a couple of people who look exhausted. You see what looks to be older Basil and Pretty Lady. And you guys are going to go ahead and put yourselves on the south part of this map.
And you said they look tired, exhausted?
Yeah. They're both kind of laying on the ground back to back, leaning against each other. They see you when you come in and they go, oh, perfect timing.
Basil, again, raises his arms and hands as to show that he's not wielding a weapon. And he'll sort of glance at his companions and say, let's try and be civil about this. And he will step forward a bit, not trying to go too much past Rabajan. And he looks over to the two people lying back to back, and he says, greetings. I understand it probably is a hard sell, but I'm actually not here to lay waste. I would like to talk, if that's at all possible. My companion also is looking for someone, and I nod at Rabajan.
The older man looks at you and goes, oh, that's ironic. You guys are the defenders of the Veil, right? Here to stop the evil cult?
It is correct.
Oh, it's been a long time, Augustus. How have you been? You look strong.
Onyx looks behind us.
Basil also looks behind us.
Come on, you don't even know your name anymore, Augustus? What is this? What is this nonsense?
His name is Irony. See, because he's an iron golem.
I'm not talking to you, confused one. He interrupts you. I'm talking to my son that was stolen from me, Augustus.
What?
His name is Augustus?
Rabajan likes Basil better.
Yes, Basil as well. Augustus. I'm sorry, but that sucks.
Hey, when you guys have your own kids, you can name them, all right? Augustus, how have you been since the liar, the great sage, stole you from us?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid Augustus.
Yeah, I named you after my father, also a great monk warrior. Founder of this order you belong to, actually.
Also a lame name.
Basil looks quite confused. His brow is furrowed, but he doesn't exactly look in disbelief. He just looks a little bit sort of befuddled, and he says, I'm afraid I don't understand. As far as I'm aware, my name is Basil. Well, I've been called Basil for a very long time. I'm the lesser.
You're the lesser? The Great One gave you his title, huh?
I didn't understand you had a relationship with the sage. I mean, you fight a lot like him.
That's because
not that I saw you fight.
That's because I'm aware your necromancers spied on us as we defended ourselves from the forces of the undead. Yes.
Yeah.
Me and your Great One were trained by the original Great Sage, my father, your grandfather. You, stolen after betrayal from the man who was raised as my brother.
That's a lot to process. I guess I'd like to insight check him.
Yeah, roll it.
27.
He's telling you what he believes to be the truth. His conviction is very, very honest. But sometimes people believe wrong stuff. You don't know if what he believes is right or not. He could be crazy. He could be lucid. The Great Sage could be crazy. What kind of guy steals a child and raises him
I-
out as a monk in the middle of nowhere? You had no monastery. You had places you stopped occasionally. Think about your childhood that you remember. Traveling from place to place, training with random people, always moving and on the run. No explanations as to where you came from. You're quiet, Basil. What's going on inside Basil's mind?
He is, I guess you could say, like running the numbers, sort of
Broken.
seeing how things sort of
Processing
add
like
up
an old
in
cash
his
register.
mind. Yeah. He makes like the old internet like startup sound, the AOL sound.
He does. Like, not even that, like you're connected. Yeah,
Sound
like
of
you're
a
connected in it.
computer dying.
Yeah.
The lady looks at you for the first time, or she's been looking at you the whole time quietly, and she goes, "You're not even going to greet your mother? You've been taken away from me for 19 years, and you won't even say hello? I birthed you with my
Hi.
own body, fought through hours of labor. Do you know how hard it is to train in a monastery and have a child?"
I'm afraid I don't not believe you. I just don't recognize you. I apologize for that. I apologize that this is how you find me.
She sobs a little bit.
It is true that I have wondered for a long time where I came from. It is true that it was very strange to me that the sage would not give me any information on where I'd come from, or why things were as they were. I do not know if what you said about the sage is true. All I know is that I do believe you when you say these things about me being who you say I am. I am not a fan of what has happened here, and I'm not a fan of the fact that this is how we meet. I've been aware for quite some time that my family was quite intertwined with the activities of this organization. I suppose I must ask why.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody raised by the Grey Sage. Here's your family for a nice home reunion, and the one thing you want to talk about is anything besides us. Well, today you look at me, Julius, your mother, Cleo Adolfo, and you, Augustus Adolfo, and you ignore that family lineage because you're raised by the lies of a false monk. I've got no answers for you.
I'm not ignoring you.
No, you're just fleecing us for information moments after meeting us after 19 years of not seeing us because you were abducted. Yeah, I get it. Sorry to inconvenience you with the familial issues first. Just do what you're going to do here. I'm spent. Your friend the Lich wore us out. I've got nothing left to offer you.
Your hurt speaks volumes. I said before, I'm not a fan of what's happened here, and I have no interest in causing more bloodshed.
I mean, there's not a lot left to cause. You guys have pretty much wiped out an entire population. Good job. Way to come in peace, shortly after the slaughter. I guess in death there is peace, huh?
For most.
Not to interrupt, but Rabi-san wants to just say that it wasn't anybody here's idea to have a lich.
That wouldn't matter anyway.
And nobody here was a part of that plan. That was a surprise to everybody.
It was just convenient, right? Yeah, that's fine.
Rin just kind of glares at Finn with like big eyebrows like raised, and he just like looks at him, and he knows what this looks mean.
That's just your normal look towards Finn for some reason. You know he didn't do it, right?
Come on. It's more exaggerated than usual.
I understand your point, Rabajan, but I do not believe that absolves us of what has happened.
Well, Rabajan just feels like maybe Mr. Basil shouldn't be getting such backlash when it wasn't his idea. And Rabajan thinks that since Mr. Basil has enough crap that just got piled on him, maybe those other people could realize at least that Mr. Basil did not have a part in the badness that happened before we came.
But that's not true, Rabajan. Those people, my parents, are correct. We are the defenders of the Vale, as is Gravine. We function as a unit. We are each other's responsibility. When it comes to upholding peace, we are accountable for the actions of one another.
Well, Robbie Jock just thinks it's all a bunch of crap. But she's gonna fold her arms and kind of like pout.
I can agree to disagree. I understand it is quite comfortable to feel as though we had very little hand in this. But the fact of the matter is, Gry is young. If we are to argue that nothing that the cult has done is justified, we must live by that example, I believe.
Bobby John is gonna do like a little bit harder of a love tap to the back of Basil's head, and then she's actually gonna sit cross-legged and cross-armed and pout on the ground.
The fact of the matter is, bad things have happened to this place in the name of the Veil. Bad things have happened to the Veil in the name of the cult.
Well, they kind of started it. I'm just saying.
I have no interest in who started it.
I've got a question about that. When we started it, you mean when you got our one guy that was sent to check to see what you guys were up to drunk and then assaulted him? Is that when we started it?
The one who turned into a dragon?
Yeah, Bobby John remembers that guy who turned into
Was his name Calvin?
Frelling dragon.
I have no idea. I can't remember a character I named last episode. How do you expect me to remember a character from so long ago?
It was Caleb, wasn't it?
Caleb.
Caleb.
That was it.
I dig it.
The red wormling or whatever the hell it turned into.
But yeah, we totally started that.
That's not correct.
Oh, Bobby John remembers somebody told us to go do that. Fancy paper.
You remember the fancy paper?
So you're telling me a piece of paper told you to kill our member?
Yes. No,
Okay.
no.
So
the fancy paper said to go talk
I
to
think Happy John should shop right now.
well, I'll go get a fancy paper that says don't kill all of my family. Will that get you to stop killing my family?
Well, Bobby John likes Mr. Basil, so you got that.
Oh, good. The one person in my family you guys won't kill is the one that was kidnapped and brainwashed to be against us. Got it.
Father,
Yes.
I am not brainwashed.
Well, sounds like something somebody brainwashed would say.
I believe in my own virtues, and I act upon them. I believe that the Veil is a place worth defending, and as cosmic insight has been granted to us, I have seen that the activities of the cult are wicked and macabre. That gentleman that we slew within the land of Centervale, do you know the one who killed the man who was watching over us? As in, Caleb. Do you know who killed Caleb?
You guys did.
It was the same necromancer, the one who learned all of his tricks from the cult.
Yeah. The one who
Every
abandoned us.
morsel of dark magic, a seed planted in him by the cult.
Nobody touch a hit point. Nobody touch a spell slot, or I will delete you.
So I guess it's time for a mid-roll. We're probably more than halfway through this episode. I'm pretty sure we are. We just want to thank you, listener, for tuning in, sharing us with your friends, leaving us ratings and reviews wherever you find podcasts. I think you can do it on iTunes or Stitcher, maybe. I know you can leave reviews on Podbean. Anyways, we're going to do something a little bit different with this mid-roll. Ricky really wanted to do a shout-out or something. So, we're going to let him have it. Ricky, go.
Ron, I was just saying, I want to put this shout out somewhere. Maybe when we're doing the mid roll or whatever. But there's a TikTok guy who his whole TikTok account, he's called the Plot Doctor. That's his TikTok handle. I don't know if it's called a handle. I'm old, whatever. But all he does is he has his videos start out with things like, here's a story to make your players cry, and he puts out weird scenarios. And do I tell this one and just not use it? I'll just tell this one that I was going to use. Here's something he did. Yep, he is wearing a Britney Spears shirt. Here's something he did. He had a story. He's like the players. He sets it up, and he's British, so he's got that really good. He's melancholy. He's
Melancholy.
Yeah, he speaks that way. And he's very British, so he sounds sad. And he's like your players are in an inn, right? And they see a lone warforged in the corner, not really engaging with the other people, but he's people watching. And after a little while, the barkeep will shout out, and I can't remember what he named the warforged, will shout out the warforged's name, like, "Hey, pal, it's raining outside." And then the warforged will get up, leave a gold coin for the stuff he's consumed, and head over to outside, and he stands in the rain. And then he follows it with, if the players ask him what's going on, he says, "Well, much like you guys, I used to be an adventurer. And while I was out adventuring, my party member and I, we fell in love. And while we were unable to be together emotionally, we were united as one, and I lost this person. They died. And as a warforged, I'm unable to produce tears. So any time that nature sees fit to cry from the skies, I stand out and mourn over the loss of my loved one.
I love that. I've actually used that before.
Isn't that brilliant? That
It's really
thing, it
lovely.
changes the campaign in no way. In no way does the plot get moved, or a bad guy get got, or a new good guy show up. But what it does is it brings a depth to the campaign where this other person had a whole other life that was never affected by the players. And here's a bit of tragedy to show that you guys aren't the only stars in the world.
And there's nothing you can do for him.
There's nothing you can do, as it's been years since his loved one has died, so you can't bring him back unless you got a wish spell, right? So that person's gone.
At which
You made
point, why
Mallory
are you
cry.
bringing back, like, important rulers and stuff, Realistically,
I'll
even if you
be
can
honest.
do something for this person, there's nothing you can do.
I'll be honest, I threw down my headphones and walked away when Ricky brought up killing off an infant. That was a nice beginning touch, by the way. Thanks for that. I'm gonna go hug my baby.
How did you
I'll
like
have
the-
to wake him up?
How did you like the picture that the kid drew before he went to work? Daddy, come home from work soon.
You're evil incarnate. Come on, man.
Just for the record, the plot doctor also suggested that. That's something I borrowed from him. It's just a neat way. Now you're like, crap,
Super
these-
neat. Needle mosquito, man.
All right. So check out that dude. We'll put his TikTok in the show notes. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for this mid roll. Let's get back to the show.
Had Gravine stayed and finished learning to safely harness the powers that he's been given, he would have learned to control it and not resulted to murder. If you can look at what he's done and say that's not evil, then I don't think you understand the definition of good and evil. How many people did he sacrifice to do what he did? How many people again did he kill?
I don't believe he's evil. I believe he's still a hurt child.
He's a lich.
In truth, I care for him like he's my brother. But that does not mean I am blind to see that he is capable of crossing boundaries. I do not believe that there's innate evil in any magic. I do think that this was a mistake.
So,
I know perhaps you would not be glad to hear it, but I listen more to the lessons of the sage than to his words.
yeah, and those lessons have
You
led you
cannot
to
make judgments based on all that you hear.
and those lessons have led you to partake in the slaughter of how many people?
Many have died, yes.
How many people have I killed? Ask that question.
Do you want us to go outside and count?
You don't need to count the bodies here. Besides, that wouldn't even begin to cover your total, would it?
Most certainly not.
I've killed 0 people in my entire life, Basil. Our training is not to kill. I've defeated thousands of people. Weirdly enough, my fists, my elbows, my feet, my knees have no edges. Oh, sorry, he did say Augustus. Augustus, our training, developed by my father, was never meant to kill people. We were meant to defeat our foes and to show strength. Strength is a great thing, but the use of strength should be done correctly.
What is correctly?
Well, I would start off with less murder if I was to just blithely throw around things.
I don't like killing,
You're really good
and I
at
don't
it.
like killers.
And you hang out with a lot
It's
of
true.
them, including a lich. A brand new lich with an impressive kill count so far. He's not even a month-old lich, and how many more will he slaughter?
He wouldn't do it unless he thinks it's worth the cost.
All evil people think what they're doing is right.
So does every good person.
So who decides which one's right? The results? History is only told through the eyes of the victor, my friend.
It's correct.
And look at the people that's
History is
influencing
for the
you.
people who survive to tell about.
Look at the people who are influencing you. You're hanging out with a lich, and I think you're hanging out with that Abel.
Correct.
And you trust that thing? Based off of what? It was sealed in a cave when you found it. It's not even a he, it's an it.
Robbie John's gonna not say anything, but she's gonna visibly stiffen as they start talking smack about Abel.
Yes, it's very true that Abel is capable of great cruelty. I am offended that you think I would abide such things if I had not considered it worth the while.
I kind of hate the man, but he does have a plan. He kind of did explain to us that something bad is going to happen if we don't, deal with some shit.
Julius doesn't know that.
He convinced you that slaughtering all these people would prevent something bad from happening, so you had to choose the lesser of two
I
evils?
don't remember that. I don't remember that.
No. Robbie John doesn't think Mr. Abel said that. Mr. Abel Geiser didn't say any of that. That was Mr. Gry doing things without talking to everybody.
Yet here you are, devouring the fruits of his slaughter. So,
Rabbit John didn't eat any fruit.
if we're done here, what are you guys gonna do with us?
Why are you in such a rush?
I'm exhausted. Augustus, I spent the entirety of my day and energy, along with your mother, trying to protect these people in vain. As you look around, you see hopeless people hoping that they can leave and hopefully not get slaughtered by undead on their way to their next existence. Most of these people are broken families with friends they'll never see again, and not even have the opportunity to bury because their bodies now number the ones that are attacking them. Fathers can't even bury their sons. Mothers can't even bury their husbands because those sons and husbands are now risen undead to fight against the very family that they used to belong to. So I'm sorry I'm a little short.
Rabbit John agrees that's pretty messed up. That's, and again, not Rabbit John's idea. So, sorry, but...
I want to give these people that opportunity to walk out of here alive.
Just stop
Just
killing
like I
them.
want that opportunity every day for the people in the Vale.
Stop killing them.
Did Gravine wait at the gate, by the way?
Yeah, he's out where he was told to be.
Yeah, truth. I plan on speaking to Gravine.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Have a firm talking to him in regards to all the murder that he's done. That seems fair.
Rabbit John wonders if a punch in the face holds the same once somebody turns into a witch.
You're gonna go punch
Gravine
Gravine.
has already given me permission to kill him if I think he's
Yeah.
overstepped any lines.
Good luck.
I think
He's
he's
a
going quite close to a line. I understand that what's happened here is not good. Very bad, in fact. It is the exact same kind of evil that the cult has enacted on the reverse. I want to see all that end, and I would love to see that end peacefully. I don't want to fight, but I fight to protect people that can't protect themselves. These things have happened because of the things that happened to Gry, the harm that was done unto him from the cult,
What harm?
the way his family was torn apart.
Tim and Tom!
Tim and Tom.
Did he ever tell you how Tim and Tom died? You're referring to the two little poor boys he played with as a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did he ever explain how they died?
Rabbit John doesn't-
I don't remember.
Rabbit John doesn't feel good anymore.
Did he tell you where
I
his
think-
parents went? Did he explain why he has such a tragic story and where the cult came in and all this? The cult?
I think
No.
he specifically
maybe he did.
told Basil in a time when the rest of us had our headphones off.
I don't remember the specifics of it.
Rabbit John remembers it was a very tear-jerking story, but she cannot recall the specifics.
I kind of thought they were just sacrificed by the cult
Yeah, Rabbit John, I
for like dark magic.
Is that what you're going to tell him? Is that what you're
Um,
saying?
Well, I don't remember, but Basil would remember. So I don't know what. Can I do like a check for Basil, like intelligence, to see if he remembers?
Yeah, but the DM has to do an intelligence to remember the exact details of the story.
Okay, then. Well, in that case, Basil will say.
I believe it was.
Basil will
he
just
said
say-
they were sacrificed, yeah.
Okay.
They were taken
well,
away
yeah,
from him by the cult.
Either
yeah,
way,
I
say I-
remember him saying that they were taken away from him by the cult, and yeah, that's what I remember too.
yeah.
He blamed the cult for sure. That's what he told us anyway.
Yeah, Basil's just gonna say, I recall what he said, but I'd like to hear you tell me.
Tim and Tom got sick. Gravine's family and their family were very poor. They didn't have anything. They weren't even a part of the group. They hung around the outfits because we feed the people that are around us. We set up community gardens. We herd what animals we can get, and we build our strongholds. That castle that Gravine sacrificed was empty when we found it. We cleared it out of monsters and built families there. So Tim and Tom caught a disease, and our best healers couldn't heal them. We brought them into our medical tent, and we tried to heal them, and they suffered for weeks, and they finally passed away to their illness.
Can I insight check him?
Go for it.
30.
He is not telling all of the truth there.
Basil cocks his head and he says, what are you leaving out?
What do you mean?
I can sense your hesitation.
My hesitation about what?
An omittal of the full truth. There's something you're not telling us.
I've not told you a lot of things, Augustus.
And I'm giving you time to talk to me. Your long-lost son, speaking to his father and his mother for the first time in 19 years.
After your kidnapping.
You seem very
correct?
interested in speeding this all along.
I'm just tired. Just tired.
We all get tired.
Yeah, but we all aren't besieged by liches every day. That's probably a new one. I don't know if you've ever had it happen.
I've been
Rabbit
fortunate
John,
enough not to.
Robbie John remembers a time when Mr. Basil had to deal with a witch at one point.
Did it circle?
Father, can I tell you something that I have experienced?
Oh, yeah, sure. Abduction. I don't know what that's like.
Torment, everlasting, until it suffocates the last light within your very own soul, in the name of protecting the ones you love, and the ones you don't even know, from a fate that you might have caused them. I try to act selflessly, and sometimes I make mistakes. When I make mistakes, I try and right them. I'm trying to right a mistake. It doesn't have to be my own. I appreciate you giving me this time to talk. And I know we both think that we're in the right.
I know.
But you have to understand, this cult fraternizes with dragons that should not be here. And it seeks to do such massive damage to our very existence
I'm
that
sorry.
it has taken countless re-beginnings.
Your mom looks at you and goes, "Didn't you and your friends unleash 5 of the most deadly dragons that have ever existed?"
It's true that we have fraternized with metallic dragons.
Released
Under the
5 of
belief
the
that the
most
contract
deadliest
was-
dragons that have ever existed to rain their terror upon anybody they see fit. Because dragons are below nobody and above everybody.
They can fly.
You must...
Yeah, they can.
True!
both of Basil's parents are going, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's not the scariest thing they do, but yes, they can fly really fast and far.
I will agree with you that they are very frightening. And the one who talks very quickly puts my mind and body on edge. Not as bad as the Eternal Torment, but
I'm just saying, if
quite
you're
awful.
who and speaking of that, who did the Eternal Torment? Where did that come from?
Abel.
Oh, the it that you're running around with, whose plan you're following, which led to all of our people being destroyed. Yes, good source for moral standards there.
Mm-hmm. No, I said that to him. I don't think it's a very moral thing to do. And he said he'll take that into account and he'll try better next time. You see, he's not like us, but
No.
he does strive for something similar to what I do.
He strives for something, and then the sentence strays off from there. Do you know what Abel wants? He came to us first, before you. Who do you think put him in the cave?
Wasn't the cave unsealed when we found him?
Yeah,
It was just like
magic.
Just a cave. I imagine
Like
if
a
Abel
vampire.
would want to leave a cave, he could.
Yeah, I'm sure. We put him there for a reason.
Because you're evil cultists, and that's what kind of stuff evil cultists do. They put people in a cave.
Again, we're not a cult. We have a religion. I could very well say that she is a priestess of the cult of Freya. It's insulting, right?
Hiss.
Well, stop calling us a cult. We have a religion and a society that's based off of that religion. Is that wrong?
What is that
To have a
religion?
religion?
Explain it to me. Tell me about it.
Oh, now we have to have that talk? You should know.
I can't remember anything from before the Great Sage. My apologies.
Is that not suspicious to you?
It is, of course, very suspicious to me.
But that's fine. You'll just take his word for it, right? We're bad. He's good.
I'm listening to you, aren't I? If I'd taken his word for it, I would have attacked you by now.
Of course, because he's perverted the trainings of my father into a weapon.
I am not a weapon.
Yeah? What's your body count again?
Mr. Basil, Rabidon sees that you have one body. What is your body count?
I believe there's a turn of phrase, Rabajan, that refers to the amount of people that I've killed.
Murdered.
Or
yes.
slept with. In that case, not as high.
Well, I'm sorry. We've obviously taught you the wrong ways. The numbers should be flipped.
You need to understand, I don't remember any ever taught me. That information is no longer in my mind. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying I want to figure out what's going on together.
Well, I am sad that this family reunion goes this way. But I'm done talking until I've had dinner and tea.
Then let's have dinner and tea.
Rabidon's not really hungry right now. She kind of wants to
That
eat
is
all
very
this
unlike
stuff.
you, Rabajan.
Are you okay, Abhijan?
No.
Are you, do we need to have 1 second? Are you okay?
No, Rabidon is not okay. Nothing is right, and Rabidon still has her questions that need to be answered. Rabidon doesn't want to have dinner and tea with these angry people. Mr. Basil did nothing wrong. Rabidon wants to go. This is bogus.
To be fair, Rabajan, they have some right to be angry. It's true, we've done bad things to this place. I would say, and I still agree with the idea, that considering the insight we have, and the things that we must put a stop to, for the sake of all, and he sort of looks over to his parents when he says that, there are some bad things that have happened that might have been somewhat justified. I just think there's nothing wrong with talking about them.
Rajan still hasn't done anything bad here. Rajan just got here.
I think the point, Rabajan, is Gravine is one of ours. And what
Rabajan's
he
gonna
does reflects
put a
upon
paw.
us.
Rabajan's gonna put a paw on Mr. Basil's face and be like,
Mm-hmm.
Rabajan understands how you feel. Rabajan does not feel the same way. Rabajan is sorry, but agree to disagree.
Rin's in the back, and he's like, burn.
I look across the rest of the defenders and I say, well, what about you?
At this
Do you
moment,
disagree also?
you guys feel an electric energy as a portal opens and one more person joins everybody for dinner. All right, so we're at the emotionally traumatizing dinner. A portal opens up and you see a tabaxi come in. The tabaxi comes in through this portal, strolling in, very well dressed, as you can see. Nice jacket, a hand cane with a cigarette lit in his hands as he comes strolling to the table. Nice white fur collar around it. Standing about 6.5 foot tall, black skin, black hair, black eyes, very, very suave smile. Swaggers up to this table, sits down, and goes, Adjur welcomes you to his dinner table. Please, sit, have some food, as we get together and we chat about things. Huh? We like chatting, I like chatting. Do you like chatting? Come chat with Adjur. I'm the most handsome
Prefer it much to more bloodshed.
Oh, you done shedding the blood of my people. Thank you for that gracious kindness you've extended me. Now come, murderers, enjoy the seat at my table.
Rabajan's not hungry. Also, Rabajan didn't murder anybody here.
No, I understand. You yet to learn as young ones. A murder through omission is a murder still.
And how about you stop being a condescending piece of ass and stop explaining what exactly you want us to do about it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did me talking about all of my family and friends that have died because you and your people have come to slaughter us, did that offend you? I apologize. I didn't mean to inconvenience you with the death of my people.
Wasn't my question.
Thank you.
Takes a big old bite out of his salmon.
What do you want us to do about it? What do you want us to do about Abel and his plan? You seem to know things we don't, and I'm just curious how you would act on it.
What the first thing Abjura would have done was maybe not kill Abjura's people. That would be a great first step, possibly. Abjura thinks maybe you could do worse things. His eyes linger at Rabbi Jan as he makes eyes with all of the group.
Rabajan's eyes squint in a very fashion.
You, young Tabaxi, I don't see too many of our people running around. Would you care to tell me a little bit about where you come from?
No.
What's wrong, small Tabaxi? Have you not had your food today? Come sit at the table. I know our people get very hungry very quick.
Rabajan is not small. Rabajan is 6'2".
Abjura did not mean to upset the Rabbi Jan. The Rabbi Jan is big and mighty. And come, mighty one, enjoy the food at the table.
Rabajan is mighty, but Rabajan is not hungry.
Abjura believes Rabbi Jan is not telling the truth to herself. It seems you guys have avoided the truth a few times, but you should not avoid the truth of food. The bottle tips, emptying Mallory's cup. Salute.
I don't believe that we avoid the truth.
Oh, I know. Abjura's heard all of your reasoning as you talk about how you guys did nothing. I understand. It was your friend, not you. I get it. You're fighting the evil cult of people who didn't do anything to you. I see. Abjura understands it's good to defend yourself with a strong offense. Abjura gets it. Now, please, eat the dinner. Stop insulting me at my table.
Rabajan wonders why Mr. Abjura wants Rabajan and her friends to eat food so bad.
Because Abjura is a polite person. Abjura doesn't eat food without offering it to the guests, even if those guests have stepped over the corpses of his extended family.
Basil will approach the table.
Basil is alone.
Fair enough.
Maybe Basil
Can I sit
is
next to one of you?
big baddie.
You sit next to Maybe, did you say Basil's the big bad?
I mean, in the end, it could be.
Basil.
You can sit at any... Abjura offers any seat that is not taken to anybody who would like it. Again, chewing. Except for Abjura would like to keep Abjura's seat where Abjura's already started eating the delicious salmon.
Salmon?
Please.
Oh yeah. Very beautiful fish. Fresh fish. Probably moments out of the ocean before it was cooked.
Roland looks over at the table. What are they serving for a beverage?
Oh, it's wine. Every spot has a cup of wine.
Roland doesn't really know how he should be responding to this, but seeing other guildies approaching the table, Roland's going to approach the table cautiously.
Come. If you have a magic to test the food, Abjura will not be offended. I understand we did not meet on the kindliest of terms. But if you would like, I'll take a bite from your food too. I just don't do that naturally because people get worried about bites out of food.
Rin will leave the place.
All right, where do you go?
I'm gonna go see Gry. But you don't have to do me right now.
Phanilius, Rabijan, what are you two doing?
I'm quite comfortable standing back here where I am.
Onyx, what are you doing?
Onyx just walks over and just leans over on the wall and just watches everybody eat.
And Rabijan?
Rabijan is eyeballing the salmon because, cats like fish. But Rabijan is stubborn. And she's going to pull something to the effect of lambus bread out of her bag and nibble on it, sitting on the floor where she is. She doesn't want to get any closer.
So, young one, not small, young one. Abjura would like to know, where do you come from? What home have you?
Rabijan bets Abjura would like to know that. Rabijan has a home in Centervale.
The problem is, Abjura thinks he knows or has seen somebody that looks a lot like Rabijan in the past. Well, Abjura will tell you where he comes from. Abjura comes from the land of the seven thunderclouds. Abjura's town doesn't exist anymore. It's been a long time, but Abjura was raised there as a kitten. Young one, Abjura notices you put a scowl on your face. Do you want to tell Abjura about your problems?
Not really, no. But Rabijan feels like she might have heard of that place at one point.
Yeah, Abjura thinks you've heard about that place a few times. Tell me, young one, how old are you?
Old enough. Thank you, Mr. Abjura.
That's very nice, but Abjura is interested in the number of times the sun has circled while you have been alive.
Rabijan thinks that it might be about 36 times.
That's pretty close, yeah, it's pretty close.
To what?
Rabijan, when you look at me, what do you see?
Rabijan doesn't think Mr. Abjura really wants Rabijan to answer that.
Oh, Abjura has been insulted by meaner people than you, Rabijan. Tell Abjura all about what Rabijan feels. It's good to let the emotions run free, yeah?
Well, Rabijan kind of thinks maybe Rabijan has seen Mr. Abjura before.
Yeah, Abjura wishes to confirm that feeling. Where does Rabijan think she's seen Abjura before?
Rabijan isn't sure, but it kind of feels like a dream.
Abjura sometimes also has a hard time telling if Abjura is having a dream or if Abjura is having a nightmare.
Rabijan can tell the difference, but Rabijan, it's just a little fuzzy.
That's because Abjura thinks that Rabijan probably doesn't remember exactly where Rabijan grew up at because Rabijan was taken from Rabijan's home.
Rabijan did have to leave the place where Rabijan was born when Rabijan was young.
No, young kitten, you learned wrong. Rabijan did not have to leave anything. Abjura wishes to tell Rabijan about the time Rabijan was stolen.
What's with you people being stolen?
Abjura wishes Abjura knew.
Rabijan is wary.
Abjura is angry.
Well, that doesn't help Rabijan feel any better.
Rabijan would be mad if Rabijan's family was stolen from Rabijan. Abjura feels that way.
Rabijan wants Mr. Abjura to start speaking more plainly.
He laughs. Does Abjura have to say the feelings that Rabijan feels in her heart? Search your feelings. You know it's true. So, Rabijan
would very much appreciate if Mr. Abjura would start talking with words that meant something.
Who does Rabijan think Rabijan's father is?
Rabijan doesn't know. Rabijan was raised by her uncle.
No, Rabijan wasn't. Rabijan's mom and Rabijan's father have no brother.
What?
Your parents, young one, they have no brother.
Rabijan doesn't think Mr. Abjura would know that for sure, but please continue.
Abjura has a pretty good idea. He knows about Rabijan's parents. We don't have a lot of people. We remember the people we meet. Abjura looks at you expectantly while again waving to the salmon.
Rabijan would like answers and not more questions. And unbeknownst to Rabijan, she is like subconsciously scooting closer to the salmon because, cats and fish.
Come on, it's a recipe Abjura's father made, and Abjura's father made. Abjura enjoys the salmon. And I want to pause you so that you can dwell on your emotional trauma for a moment. Let's go to Rin. Rin, what are you doing? You go out, you find Gry, no problem.
Okay. Rin's gonna find Gry.
And Riff. And a lot of undead. He's not alone.
He's Rin is conscious of that. He's disgusted by that, but trying not to show it. Try to be as subtle as possible, even though it probably shows on its face.
Hey Rin, how's it going in there? Did you guys get the bad guys?
About that.
Did they win? Do you need my help? You want me to come?
He starts to motion for Riff, and they start to walk towards you.
How about you calm down and just keep your distances for a while? Yes, everybody's okay for now.
Oh, so you don't need us yet?
Yes, I do need you.
I'm confused.
I am as well. What do you know about Abel?
He's not human. I think he's an aberration. He seems to be older than our planet. He's really powerful.
What are your powers as it says?
You guys know what my powers are?
What I'm asking is more like, could you compete with that kind of power if I were to ask you?
Can I compete with Abel? God no. He's really strong. Honestly, I don't think if the whole guild came at Abel, we'd be alright. Not right now.
And this is the part where I ask you, how do you know that? Sure.
I'm doing a lot of, independent research. There's some tomes and stuff that talk about Abel, historically, way in the past. And then also talking with Abel. He knows a lot of stuff. That's where I got a lot of the materials I needed to do what I did. It was Abel and his connections.
We didn't engage in a fight with some, let's say the cult leaders or some parts of the cult. But I am not sure anymore if we did as much good as we thought we did.
What do you mean by killing the cult? It's all good. The cult's gone, we're better.
I'd like to know how much better we are.
Well, there will be 100% less cults in the world that abduct people and do cult things.
The cult says that Abel came to them first to solve its problem, which supposedly is the universe's problem.
I'm not Abel's keeper, but I'm sure he probably could have done that. I don't know.
Could you know for sure he did?
You would have to talk to the people in the cult and get their lies, or approach Abel and get his partial truths.
That is why I'm asking you, since you seem to have become some sort of cosmic weird being. Well, let's say, undead, as they say. I still don't understand the full, let's say, magic behind that, but...
You want me to verify if the cult approached Abel first?
If Abel approached the cult first.
If the Abel approached the cult first, okay.
Well, I'd like you to be subtle about it, as if it didn't come from me.
So you want me to ask him and make sure he doesn't know that you told me to ask him?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm curious enough about that, I'll ask him.
Also, if you could make some more research about what he fed us.
What he fed you?
Yeah, by that I mean... Sorry, I'm a halfling first, sometimes I mix up words. I'd like to know if his story is the truth, or maybe if he is sending us on a wild goose chase that,
Well, it's definitely not a wild goose chase. You guys have taken some pretty powerful artifacts and given it to him. So even if it's not what you think it is, he got a plan.
Do you know about its plan?
I know what he told you guys.
Do you ready? I want to make an inside check on that.
Okay, go ahead and roll insight.
Rin rolled a 24.
He hasn't told you any lies yet.
Anyway, if you could do that for us, that'd be kind of appreciated. For the time being, would you mind, maybe, until we know for sure we weren't the bad guys, would you mind just taking your army away from the village?
What do you mean that you aren't the bad guys? Or that you are the bad... Who told you you're the bad guys?
Well, the people inside had some...
Yeah, they're the cultists. They don't like what you're doing. It makes sense.
Yeah, but we might have instigated it.
They've instigated a lot of things.
You don't have to trouble yourself about this.
No, I don't trouble myself about killing cultists. I'll kill cultists all day. Kill cultists. Bring me cultists. I'll kill them right now. We'll leave once all the guildies come out safely.
That sounds fair enough.
And just so you know, there's been a ton of people abandoning. It looks like they're survivors or whatever. We haven't touched them at all. They just go.
Yeah, you better not.
Excuse me?
You heard me well.
Okay, well, any day you think you're brave enough to force me to do things, Ren, go ahead.
You know, guy, this all starts like this.
You were very threatening. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Now that you do have the power, you think you might be entitled to some more respect, but respect is earned. And
Well, I've never really been respected, but it's a disrespect. I just want to avoid some of that. So you don't have to fail to threaten me. You can tell me you don't like what I'm doing, but like, I'm just saying, be straightforward. You don't like me because you didn't like me before I was a lich. Now that I'm lich, it makes you scary.
of course it makes you scary. What did you think you would be when you became that thing?
What have I done since I've been a lich besides help people out? I fought a cult. That's scary. I became a lich off killing cult members, who were killers. But I haven't attacked, like, innocent people. I don't terrorize people. I actually reduce the amount of undead in the world. I'm guilty. Been guilty for a long time.
That's the thing, though. That's what people just said that you did kill some innocent people along the way. Maybe you didn't have the control over all of these undead.
The only people that would have died that were people that were associating themselves with the cult that was kidnapping, murdering, and trying to end the world. I'm okay with the moral implications of that. There's always good people and agree with bad people, but they made bad choices. They were perpetuating a cult that was working towards killing everybody that's existed. So
I kind of do agree with that for now, because like I said the same thing to Basil.
It's like if you stop bandits, like say you kill a group of bandits, I'm sure one guy had a family in the group of bandits at least.
We kind of had another version here that kind of some sort of moral dilemma, which is, well, let's say, unusual, but still he's there. That is why I'm asking you to do the things I asked earlier.
Yeah, I'll do those things. I'm just saying, man. Like, I'm a guild member. The worst crime you see that I've committed was kill the cult, which we were all fighting against and killing anyway. I just, at one time, did it very well, and it made you nervous. But I've never done anything that I've done around you guys. I've always been the same person. And while I know you find my methods creepy, remember, man, I'm helpful. We've been in the same guild. We're working towards the same stuff here. We're not enemies. We're guildmates, if not friends at times.
And just looks at Dry, and he smiles and said, "True. It is true."
I've always been weird. People had a hard time with me forever, but fine.
Alright, I'm gonna take my leave right now.
Bye. I'll ask about those things for you, and I'll get back to you as soon as I get information. Be safe. If you need something, holler. I'm still out here.
So Rin takes his leave, and is just gonna wait out.
So do you explore the town at all? Do you just wait outside the big hall? What do you do?
For now, I'm just gonna stay outside the big hall because I want to keep an eye on what's happening. If I hear something.
Okay. So, Abjura wonders what Rabbi Jan thinks.
Of?
Familial implications.
Well, Rabbi John always knew that there weren't a bunch of tabaxi, but Rabbi John isn't sure how she might know you.
Come on, Rabbi Jan. How many tabaxi has Rabbi Jan seen in the last year?
Roland's eyes dart back and forth between the two tabaxi as he sips his wine.
Anybody that wants to make a perception.
Gravine did tell you to find someone with a name that I think is similar to this gentleman's, and I nod at
Rabbi John remembers that. But Mr. Gry, the Lich, did say that Rabbi John should talk to Mr. Abjura, but Rabbi John Rabbi John only thinks she might have seen Mr. Abjura in passing. Rabbi John doesn't know why Mr. Abjura is familiar.
Oh, Mr. Abjura is 100% convinced that Rabbi John knows why Abjura is familiar.
Nope. Rabbi John has no idea. None whatsoever. 0% chance of Rabbi John knowing. None. Nope.
Well, Rabbi John, I'm just suggesting, perhaps.
No.
Okay, yes, good point. My mistake.
Title of this episode, Daddy Issues. So Mr. Abjura starts to eat food. Why do you have me calling him Mr.?
Basil also says, this conversation is quite confusing considering both participants use...
I'm sorry, Augustus, say what?
Yes, I was merely referring to the fact that tabaxi are third persons.
Abjura thinks the tabaxis are wonderful person. Listen, Rabbi John, at my table, you always have the opportunity to eat. This fish is so fresh. The moment it was caught, it was being prepared. Please, come try it.
It's happening.
You eating the fish? That's what's happening, or the episode title?
Oh, the episode title. Rabbi John will sneak closer to the table, but the entire time she's doing it, she's going to be making really awkward, angry eye contact with Basil. Just so she doesn't have to look at other people.
Basil takes a bite of the fish, looks up at Robijan, and nearly chokes on it.
Ah, Mr. Abjura's heart is warmed by your presence at Abjura's table, where you're always welcome. Try the fish, it's fresh and delicious. You will not find better in town.
Rabijan just had some really dry, crumbly bread. She's okay right now, thanks.
Dry, crumbling bread is often accompanied, most eloquently, with very wet wine, which is also next to the moist fish. Come on, Mr. Abjura wonders who doesn't like a nice fresh salmon on a bed of fresh, perfectly prepared rice.
Rabijan's gonna lean over a plate and take a big, lungful of fish inhale, and then she's gonna eyeball it, and then look at Abjura, and then look at the plate, and she's still not gonna touch it.
It smells almost as good as when Mr. Gnome cooks it.
Rabijan is still not trusting at all. Rabijan feels like she might be more in the mood to eat if she got answers instead of more questions.
Okay, Mr. Abjura understands he talks roundabout way. And he looks at you, very charming, very handsome, Tabaxi. Fur's perfect. Every hair is perfectly groomed. There's not a feather in his white, feathered, shoulder neck piece, whatever that's called, that isn't perfect. His gown, his suit, not a spot of dust on it. His shoes sparkle as if they've been shined by the shiniest shiner. And he looks at you and goes, Mr. Abjura will answer any question Rabijan asks right now.
How does Mr. Abjura know Rabijan?
Mr. Abjura loved Rabijan's mother. Rabijan came later. Rabijan was stolen from her father, Mr. Abjura.
No. Rabijan never knew her father, but Rabijan knew that her father was gone. Gone. Dead gone.
Mr. Abjura has been close to dead many times, but many times Mr. Abjura has made his way out. Mr. Abjura is very resilient.
Rabijan also remembers that her uncle Nacho told her that Rabijan's father killed Rabijan's mother and all of her siblings. So, there's that.
That's funny. Mr. Abjura thinks that story is tragically funny. Rabijan's mother had 4 siblings. 2 died when Rabijan's mother was very young, about the time Rabijan was born. We were young parents.
No. Rabijan's siblings.
2 of Rabijan's mother's siblings, Rabijan's aunts, died in the siege of this town within the last day or 2.
What?
Well, they were alive, and now they're...
What about Rabijan's siblings?
When Rabijan's hometown was destroyed, Mr. Abjura lost a lot of remaining family. Rabijan had 1 brother, 1 sister. Rabijan now has just memories and a family name.
Rabijan feels like these answers might be false. I would like to do an insight check.
A double dog dare you. You can have advantage if you want.
Advantage and roll double ones.
I would be so happy.
I would totally. That would happen. Why would you jinx me like that? So rude.
I'm hoping to not jinx you by saying it.
If double ones happen, Onyx gets a new legendary item.
That's not fair.
Click the button.
Completely fair, because then the party doesn't get screwed.
Well,
That's an unnatural 20 and a 15. So
so
for the
with
20.
advantage, you got a 20. Yeah, he's telling what he believes to be the truth.
Rabijan's gonna pretend that Mr. Abjura is telling truth. Who is Mr. Rabijan's uncle Nacho then?
Mr. Abjura doesn't know this Nacho.
No, not Nacho. Nacho.
Mr. Abjura apologizes. Mr. Abjura heard Nacho. Was interested in meeting Nacho. Mr. Abjura loves Nacho after watching game. But Mr. Abjura does not know a Nato either.
Well, Uncle Nato raised Rabijan, and Rabijan learned all she knows from Uncle Nato. Rabijan knows nothing of or from Mr. Abjura.
Rabijan serves a goddess, yeah? The goddess gives things to Rabijan. Why doesn't Rabijan consult this Freya and see what the Freya will say about Mr. Abjura? and Miss Robbie John's relationship. Robbie John will trust that source more than me.
Robbie John doesn't like how much Mr. Abjur already knows about her.
Of course, Mr. Abjur knows things about Robbie John. The eldest daughter is often followed.
Well, that's creepy. And she's gonna turn around and walk away from the table a little bit.
Talk to the goddess. Huh? The goddess tells Robbie John the truth, yeah? You trust this goddess? If Mr. Abjur had something to hide, why would Mr. Abjur tell you to trust something that doesn't belong to Mr. Abjur?
Robbie John's already ignoring him and trying to muster up some will to speak to Freya. She has to have a clear mind, and her mind is not clear. Lady Freya. Robbie John is hoping that she's coming through clear. If there's static, it's because there's a lot of crap happening. Robbie John needs some guidance.
Check
Lady
1 2.
Freya.
Check 1 2, Lady Freya. Check 1 2. So, are you trying to use something like a divine intervention?
No, I think Robbie John is just gonna try and pray and see if she gets any kind of contact that way.
Do you want to use your oh shit and pull Abel in here?
Robbie John's not sure about him right now. She's gonna hold off on that one for the time being. Does a prayer get to Lady Freya, or does Robbie John need to use a channel divinity?
Describe how you would use this channel divinity.
Probably in the same way that she just prayed.
Because technically you're using channel divinity for something not intended for channel divinity.
Oh.
But if you describe it well enough and do some hard RP, maybe I'll let you burn a source like channel divinity to reach out and speak to somebody like you're using AT&T. AT and divinity. I'm so happy. You see Roland's face? I did that.
She has divine intervention, don't she?
Yeah.
She does. It's a level 10 ability, and she's more than level 10.
18% chance.
Robbie John feels that just feels really OP. I mean, what if she needs it for something later in the week because you can't use it again for 7 days?
Hold your hand up, Robbie Jan. Put a finger down for every time you've used that ability in the game. That's it. You're done.
Or I could hold a finger up for every time I've used it.
No, I did that on purpose that way.
Fine. You called me out there. You called me out. Threw me under. Yeah, let's do it. Divine intervention. Let's go. Come on.
Describe your prayer.
Robbie John, with her back to everybody, is going to pull out her mace because that's her weapon, and she's gonna put it on the ground. She's gonna kneel down, kind of like a Tebow kind of a prayer, and gonna put her head down on the handle of the mace because she's effing tired, and she's gonna say, "Lady Freya, Robbie John humbly asks for your assistance. Robbie John needs answers, and the truth is not clear."
You feel a whisper that emanates almost from the mace as your mace begins to glow. Go ahead and give me a percentile dice roll, and we'll see how effective this is going to be.
Hooray, I rolled low, guys.
So you feel a warmth as Freya starts to whisper to you, right? Reassurances, encouragement. You're doing good. You feel energetic. You're no longer tired. You feel like you gained strength. You didn't use any spells, but had you used any spells, your spell slots would be restored. And you hear Whisper say,
"Child, ask your question."
Lady Freya, the first question that Robbie John has is Mr. Abjura, is he really Robbie John's father?
What's the next question?
Robbie John's next question is, did this cult deserve what happened to them?
And what's Robbie John's last question for Lady Freya?
Robbie John's last question for Lady Freya is, has Robbie John and her friends been putting their trust in the wrong person as far as Mr. Abel Geiser? Is Mr. Abel Geiser using the Defenders of the Veil for his evil gain?
All right, so the three questions are this. Confirm, Robbie Jan. Numero uno. He's Abjura, my daddy.
I mean, that wasn't the exact phrasing, but yes, that is the first question.
All right, second question. Did the cult deserve what happened to it?
Yes.
Specifically, the Gry adventures.
Yes.
Question 3. Is my sweetheart using the guild for his evil gains?
Also, not the exact phrasing, but essentially that is the question, yes.
She just confirmed Abel's her sweetheart. You guys heard it here. It's on record.
No.
You
Not
guys are
really.
jerks.
All right. So the guild has found itself in a very patriarchal reunion, and I think this is a good place to leave it. And we will figure out what happens in our next episode as we come together to find out who the daddies of the Vale are.
Daddies of the Vale.
Hi, this is Mallory. I do the voice of Robbie John, and I wanted to say thank you for joining us for another episode of Defenders of the Vale. If you would like to hear more of Defenders of the Vale, you can find us at Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, and pretty much anything else that plays podcasts. You can also find us on Twitter at Defenders Vale and Facebook, Defenders of the Vale. Our episodes come out weekly, and we would love for you to share us with your friends. We hope that you will join us again soon. Thanks again.
I am going to go to the restroom, so let's take a quick break as you guys all suffer through your existential "are we the bad guy" crisis.
Wait. What did you say? What did Ricky say?
He's leaving us to go pee. He's leaving
I also
us
have to pee.
to stew in our yucky feelings right now.
Yeah, and
I
if
will
you-
say I have very little yucky feelings. I know what Basil believes, and he does not believe that we're the bad guys.
Yeah, and if you saw the way that Ricky got up from his seat, you would know that he fucking means it.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, he wants us to sit here and stew. I'm gonna go make a drink. This is bullshit.
I know, we should be rolling initiative by now.
Just for the record,
Yeah,
I'm eating victory apple pie because everything I wanted to happen so far has happened.
Good idea, Revision.
She grabs booze. I'm over here watching videos trying to perfect my accent for this other character.
What kind of booze is this?
Oh, I can read
Also,
lips
not
though.
very-
That was definitely a bullshit.
Why are you swearing, Mal? First off, let's take a moment and reflect on how Mal's got a pair of guns there. You see those arms?
Are you talking about my bingo wings? Please.
Bingo wings? What are you opening up there, Mal?
Some feel good, hopefully.
Was that
I thought
a
it-
emotional hit point potion after the trauma I've just put you through?
This is hypnotic, and I'm hoping it's gonna hypnotize me so I don't fucking feel any feelings.
Have you been feeling some feelings today?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Is this not a good day to do the emotional stuff?
No, I'll be fine.
Good, because remember, it's about to get rough. You might want to saddle up.
Ooh, 17% alcohol. You might want to saddle up.
I mean, that's good for starting out, but I hope you got the strong stuff somewhere.
I left the sake in the fridge. That's gonna be my bathtub drink.
It's going to be your bathtub, just a bunch of sake. Sake Bama! For the listener, Rick put in the chat 9 lives, and that's why he lives so well. And he's at the backseat, and I hate Rick.
And we're just gonna say that he's on life number 8 right now.
Ricky, what about the beholster?
Is that where you keep your beholder guns?
No, that's the guy from Enter the Gungeon, remember?
Oh, you.
Did you say into the ganja?
No.
That's what I heard.
No. No, what I said.
Or maybe it's just
No.
what I wanted to hear or something like that.
Yeah. I think maybe. That's okay, though. It was really funny.
I'll be right back.
Enter the ganja.
Episode 98, Into the Ganja.
Let's take a deep dive into the inner work mechanisms of Ren.
Uh-huh. You have to get high to understand his character.
I'm gonna go see Gry. But you don't have to do me right now.
Yeah, you can do them later, Ricky.
Thanks for letting me sweet talk you first, Ren. It's better for both of us.
He wants
All
a
right,
private dinner.
Got
I
it.
realize that I kind of, yeah. French Canadian speaking English. You guys sucks.
Yeah, I mean, we do.
Apparently, so do
Anybody
you.
Robbie
you
John.
trying to speak with tabaxis? Is that what's going on? Cast to speak with animal because the tabaxis are talking around? What a racist druid. For the podcast,
my
if this
God.
gets left in, he accidentally clicked the spell speak with animals while 2 tabaxis were talking about genealogy.
That would be a hilarious character arc for a fucking druid, though. Every time it comes across a non-human fucking race, just speak with animals.
Why are you speaking with animals? I'm a goblin. No, I'm casting speak with animals. Hold on, Brad.
It's a little late in the campaign for me to start that arc.
Next time.
Is 300 hit points too much for a warlock? I'm just asking.
No.
Depends if our warlocks can have that. If we get a warlock.
What do you want Breck to have 300 hit points?
Oh, heck yeah. tanky little goblin. Why, Breck?
All right. I'm gonna go in there and do some things. You guys stand out here and marvel at the awesomeness that is me, Breck, your savior.
All right.
Did Breck become Matthew McConaughey?
Your mom looks at you and goes, "Didn't you and your friends unleash 5 of the most deadly dragons that have ever existed?"
Did we? I don't know what they're referring to.
Ricky, the metallic dragons? What?
Oh, the metallics. I completely forgot we've spoken to the
they're
metallics.
good.
Holy shit.
Oh, I'm definitely kicking your ass when I get to Arizona.
Search your feelings. You know it's true. Sorry, I just went Star Wars.
I think you broke Ron. Oh my god.
How do you win Star Wars?
I went Star Wars. But I mean, you win it by doing what I just did, incorporating it into a third-party thing that has nothing to do with it. I think that was a very poisonous sentiment, right? Ron just looked at me, and Mallory just told me to shut the F up. I got tag teamed. Before everybody leaves, before we jump into random conversation and then just bounce, I want to take a moment because this episode was different than any session we've played so far. I really dug deep and brought out what I would like to call the mind fuckery with this one. How many of you are legitimately questioning the Defenders of the Veil's status as heroes right now?
I fucking know I am.
Really, are you? When we look at everything that we've done as a guild, do you consider yourself a hero right now?
I don't know, man. I'm honestly gonna have to re-listen to all the fucking episodes since the beginning. I really am confused. First of all, because of my memory of the events, and
you don't know jack of the events.
I've never played a D&D campaign for 2 years, man. I can't even remember what I ate yesterday. So
Finelius and I both are 100% confident and comfortable with everything the Defenders of the Veil have done.
Perfect.
Yeah, Roland.
I specifically have thought about how Basil feels, and I can express that, but I sort of feel I should not say it because it sort of leads into the conversation he's seeking to have with his parents after next week. So, if you know what I mean. So he does have very specific beliefs.
It kind of depends on what the cultists are doing and what they believe. I mean, if the religion is we worship Tiamat and our goal is to bring her back so she could destroy the planet, then yeah, guess what? You're cultist, you need to go. If your religion is Freya and you're all peace, love, and happiness, then yeah, we probably screwed up.
You do not know Freya. She is not all peace, love. She's making babies, plowing fields, and plowing enemies.
Also, the thing is,
killing enemies before.
Because
we're not plowing them; we're killing them. Different.
I mean, however you get to victory.
Is Freya just the god of plowing? Because those 3 things have a lot in common.
Yeah.
She's the goddess of love, fertility, battles, and death.
Ladies.
Oh,
all of those things. It just sounds like marriage. She's the goddess of marriage, is what I just heard.
Fertility, battles, and death.
Yeah.
I really hope that your wife isn't nearby to hear you say that shit. Oh, you're gonna get some cyanide in your next plate of sushi.
Freya sounds like a different kind of Captain Planet to me.
Let's get back to this. Yeah, Roland, how do you feel about the moral of questions raised in this episode?
So Roland would have never considered himself a hero to begin with, but he would consider the deeds of the guild and everything that they've accomplished to be at least noble in nature and for the greater good. But just the way Roland is, he would never consider himself a hero to begin with.
What do we do? What about, we heard Grok, we heard Basil, we heard Joe. What about Onyx? Onyx is pretty clear-minded.
Fighting good. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
How does Lewis feel about the episode?
Oh, I freaking loved it.
It's funny. I had to message somebody in the game because I had to outlet some of my excitement for what was going on. But my gosh, man. As a DM, this was the most fun I've had in a little bit because I got to be a complete jerk. And I got to watch Mallory go through the emotional roller coaster. And it looks like
I want to say, there were like I said, I have a very specific understanding of Basil's beliefs, but there were some really moments where I was like, wait. but yeah, so I had a lot of fun getting to sort of think the things through as Basil, because there's like what I think, and then there's what Basil or Augustus, I guess, think.
I'm gonna
No,
have to
wait,
leave
before
you.
you leave,
Yeah, what?
everybody else got to say how they feel. Now fucking listen to me.
Hey guys, we gotta listen to her because she's getting pissy.
So true.
Don't go, please.
Also,
Anyway, Robbie John and me as a player, we're confused. We feel like used like a booty call, and we're gonna go soak in a bathtub after all this shit is done. Robbie John hates water. She needs a bath. She's gonna like soak up to her ears, and
Now, I got another question, and this isn't necessarily for. And Ren, you can go now. This question is not. You didn't have too much going on, so it's nothing to do. It's mainly a Basil Rabbi Jan question because they were the ones getting beat up on. Do you think guys? I don't think I did because I feel like I know you two as players well enough. But do you feel like I crossed any lines? Should I pull anything
No.
back? Should we back off anywhere? Was anything out of bounds to what I did?
My mum hot as fuck. That was kind of fucked up, but other than that, that's about it.
The only time that I, as a person, got emotional was with the dead baby. Otherwise, I was fine.
Did that go too
You
far? Was that too far?
specifically said infant. I hang out with tiny people all day. It was not too far. It's like I said,
I
for
was not
whatever
attacking
reason.
you personally.
No, you weren't. You were fine. You were putting that extra layer of emotion on that needed to be there to get us to the point of being like, oh, did we fuck up? Because
I love it.
otherwise we're just
'Cause
like,
you guys may not be the
yeah,
heroes.
we're the defenders. We defend. We're awesome at defending. We defend. And now
Now
we're
you're
like,
the offenders.
are we the baddies?
And who knew the cultist kids were so good at drawing little Gries?
Because they were stick figures, like undead.
Oh, that's awful.
I wanted to say maybe it was a future, like a premonition of what the family was going to look like.
I feel like the little drawing would have probably hit Basil quite hard because he's an artist himself. Even though he doesn't remember his childhood, he probably knows that he drew a lot of pictures when he was a kid.
Yeah. Wait till we get to that point till next week.